Dimes.
What?
Call him Danny Dimes.
Man, he threw some high passes. All right. I had trouble holding on to the ball.
Ready, Danielle?
The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate in the items marked on the agenda public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom. Also, keep in mind our first responders. Thank you very much. So I'd like to make a motion, amendment to the agenda to add the minutes from the special meeting on August the 5th. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. So motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? Great. Thank you. Motion to approve minutes from the September 9th, 2019 Town Board meeting.
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being said, motion carried. Authorized payment of bills, gentlemen, for $149,330.57.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll pay the bills. Presentation, Rosemary Wine, Sarah Hall, Hollick Free Library. You're up, Rosemary.
Hello, everybody. I have made one of these for each. I'm here tonight as the, it's coming.
Speak into the
Oh, I'm here tonight as the president of the Board of Trustees of the Sarah Hull Hollick Library, Free Library in Milton. I spoke to Al about this already, and he suggested I come and speak to you. We are applying to Arts Mid-Hudson for a project grant. It's part of the decentralized grant program. They get money from the New York State Council of the Arts, and then they have money allocated for each county, Ulster, Orange, and Dutchess County. So we're going through the Ulster County pot of money, and our director, Lois Scully, put together this great program. We want to do a multicultural performance mini-series. We would have 3 artists who, I put them on here so you could see. She has spoken to them already, and we were requesting 2 things from you guys. We want to use the train station, so we have a bigger space for the performance. The flamenco dancer comes with maybe another dancer and 2 or 3 musicians, and we want to allow a bigger audience to attend. The African drumming and dance ensemble, which performs traditional Ghana music and dance, probably will have 7 people, musicians and dancers. So we want to use the space, and we're asking if you would waive the fee for the performance. All the performances will be free and open to the public. And the other thing I'm asking is for a letter of support to send with the application, which is due at midnight on Wednesday. And I wrote a draft, and I'll send it forward to Al to sign. So that's why I'm here. I think it will be a wonderful thing. We want to foster better understanding of different cultures through arts and performance. And all of these performers also do interactive things with the audience, so it'll be great for kids to come and they get them up and people participating. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have absolutely no problem with that.
Good.
Just poll the board what their opinion is, or are there any concerns, or?
I'm fine with it.
Everybody's fine with it, Rosemary, and I'd like to thank you for doing this.
Okay.
Once again, all the hard work you put into our community is very appreciated.
Thank you very
especially from
much.
me and this board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary.
And just on the little note for the library, a little good news. Senator Skoufis visited the library on the 10th of September, I think it was. And because we have some projects, capital projects we want to do, we applied for a grant for the state aid construction for the libraries, and we actually had the first round. The Mid-Hudson Library System is going to recommend us for funding. We're going to do the annex entrance. We're going to make that, it's not fully ADA compliant. There's always a problem with the ramp cracking. So we applied for money to redo that, and they're recommending us for the funding, which the next level goes to the state, and they'll announce that. And then we had two other capital things. We need improvements to the vestibule and a new circulation desk, because ours is like a hand-me-down. So Senator Skoufis is nominated us for funding to get those two things of $60,000. We just got the paperwork. It has to go through the horrible DASNY process, but
It's not that bad.
yeah, I know. But it
It's not
takes
bad.
it'll take maybe
So
a year and a half.
make sure you send me the letter that you want me to.
Yes, I will send it to you tonight.
So, okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Do you guys need to motion to waive the fee, or?
Probably.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we waive the fee
I'll
for
second.
the library.
So we're waiving the fee for three
events.
nights.
At the train station.
Got a motion to waive the fee,
I second it.
second by Councilman Malinelli. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. DeStefano, how are you?
Good.
Board members, councilmen, supervisor. For those of you in the public who don't know who I am, my name is Ryan DeStefano. I am the president of Ulster Firearms located in Milton here. We've been in business for about almost 3 years. Very happy about that. And the reason for my visit tonight to the town board meeting is to, first and foremost, my intention is to donate something to this town. Unfortunately, in today's society, and leaving politics out of there, I'm sure that all of us across the table can come to a general consensus that the lives of individual people and officers is absolutely paramount, and should be an utmost first priority of not just this board, but the board of many others similarly like it. So I'm sure on both sides of the party we can agree that our job should be to keep our officers and our public safe, and with that comes tools of the trade. And I think instead of looking at the donation, which I'm going to present to the board tonight, which is in fact a firearm, I want you to look at it as a life-saving tool, a life safety device, nothing more, nothing less than an AED or a CPR bag or a medical bag, and that's our intention. Unfortunately, we all read the news, we all know what goes on, and I think it is absolutely surgically imperative that our law enforcement community, especially our first responders, especially our local police agencies, have the tools necessary to respond to incidents. Heaven forbid they should have to. And Lord knows I pray every day that never happens in our small town or anywhere else, but inevitably we hope it doesn't happen, but there's always that possibility and there's always that scare. So with that, I'm going to get into the donation. The donation is an AR-15. My business happens to specialize in consumer AR-15s, and I think that it is absolutely imperative that this department has additional apparatus that's going to lead to the successful policing of this jurisdiction. I know that I've had an outstanding relationship with a lot of you. Some of you I don't know on an individual basis, but I've had an outstanding relationship with those of you whom I do. And the town of Marlborough itself and its jurisdiction and its police department have been nothing short of extremely supportive of me and supportive of my business. So I want this nothing more than to be a considerable donation for you guys to understand that we are very happy with the relationship dynamic we've had, and very blessed to be here, and we want to just be a welcoming party and a welcoming business in this town to work together cooperatively. I can tell you that the town of Marlborough Police, you know, not only do I actually have individual relationships with a lot of the individual officers, but globally. We sell to over 25 law enforcement agencies. I myself do some work in the sheriff's office as well, and I can see from a firsthand experience that climatically things are changing. Nowadays, modern day policing, not one person on this board is of an age necessary that can assimilate and understand that policing has changed drastically. I know, Supervisor, when you were in school, or even Ed when you were in school, we didn't have the types of concerns that we have now. Shootings, it's a thing, and it sucks. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping that this gift and this donation to the town will aid, hopefully in a life-saving capacity at some day. And again, I can't stress enough, I absolutely pray that doesn't happen. It's actually my worst fear. It's also important for you guys, as well as Chief Kokoza here, to understand that I, not only as president of my company, but individually, am also very familiar with the town's donation policy. I do understand that this donation is coming free of charge. I do not expect gratis nepotism or anything in return. Quite frankly, it's literally something I wish I could do more of. I'm just not in the financial position to donate more of them, but I think one's a start. Also, you know, you guys are a very cooperative board. I've seen some meetings, I've seen some engagements, and I'm very happy to be a patron of this area here, and I can tell you that hopefully this donation will set a precedent and hopefully help anybody on this board understand how paramount life-saving devices to this police organization are. This police from a county, local, and state level. It's imperative for me, and it makes me sleep better at night knowing that, heaven forbid, my gun store is broken into and guns are being stolen, putting into the hands that shouldn't be, that my police agency locally here has the tools necessary to respond. And if I can be a part of that, well, I'm sure we can all get behind that regardless of political climate. With that being said, I'll turn it to you guys. Do you have any questions on this donation itself?
Just appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, and if you guys like, in a safe capacity, we'll kind of show the board exactly what it is that we're donating. Cool.
Jerry, do you have these already? Have any of these?
We have two.
And
Similar style
you
rifles.
guys are trained on these?
Oh, absolutely. We're all certified in the AR-15s. We practice with them every year at the range. We go through additional instructor schools and stuff like that.
Did you guys have a pass around check?
Yeah.
Yes, on that.
Ron, let's just get a quick picture.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And I have one more thing to add as well. If you guys, I invite you down to take a picture if you like as well. You know, it would be kind of cool for us. And, you know, just know that we have the support of our township through our police department. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to close out my time here, but I will say one more thing, and I'm glad Chief Kokoza was able to tell you guys exactly what the department needs, because as a individual who sells, maintains, builds, and provides these weapon systems for most of these police agencies in the Tri-County area, I can tell you that 2 guns for a full-time department is not sufficient. So that's number 3. So hopefully, again, this is way beyond my pay grade, but I will tell you, once budget talks happen and conversations happen, I hope that the board will see my philanthropy as an example of prioritization of funds, and I hope that we can emulate that accordingly.
Appreciate it.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ian. Absolutely.
Jerry, one other question, like when or where do you bring these out in the field?
So these go out on patrol every day. We have special lockers inside the cars that secure the weapons.
So these are like in the trunk or something? Or?
No, we house them inside the station. At the beginning of every shift, the officer checks the gun out, brings it out to his police car, and locks it into the gun locker that's in the car.
Okay.
And then they use it on patrol. And if they need it or a situation arises where they have to have it, they have to release it from the vehicle, and then they have the gun accessible to them. That's how most departments do it.
And when it goes in the car, is it already loaded?
No, no.
So where's like, is it a clip?
So the magazine is in the weapon, but it's not chambered. Same way as the shotguns. They're fully, the magazine tubes on the shotguns are fully loaded, however, one's not chambered in.
Okay.
Right. This way there's no, in the event of an accident or any other situation, there can't be an accidental discharge. So when they remove the weapons from the car, they have to make them hot. They have to load a round into the chamber before that gun can actually be used. And that's how we train.
Okay.
We do the same thing
So
at the
this
range.
particular gun, how many rounds and how many?
This gun and the guns that we carry have 30-round magazines that are those are illegal for the general public to possess.
Okay, and that was
Military
30
and police only.
30 rounds, how many seconds could you?
Oh, you could probably empty that gun in 3-4 seconds
Okay.
without accuracy.
No accuracy.
Not that's just pulling the triggers because you can. But it is a very accurate, and it's a highly recommended, very accurate gun. School shootings. It's got plenty of range to it with acute accuracy. It's very easy to fire. Unlike the shotgun, it doesn't have a large recoil. So being able to use, and it's not very heavy. The guns that we have in service have slings that attach to the officer's body, so they don't have to just carry it around their hands. They can actually sling it and carry it. And we'll train with this one too, and once we train on it and have the armor go through it, we'll put this one in service, and we'll have 3 guns to use.
So when you press, I'm sorry. Is that all right?
You're not gonna ever use
When
one.
you I know, but when you press the, I don't have guns. I don't pretend to know anything about guns. But when you press the trigger, you just pull it once and it goes, or you have to.
With each trigger pull, 1 round is discharged. These are not fully automatic weapons.
So you have to every time.
Every time you pull the trigger, it goes back until it's empty. Yeah, you can't press the trigger and hold it and it spits out bullets. These are not set up that way, and we don't have any weapons that are
So
that way.
that's
Fully
considered
automatic weapon.
semi-automatic.
This is semi-automatic. Just like your handgun, every time you pull the trigger, a round fires, the gun cycles, loads another round in the chamber, and you're ready to go with another trigger.
But this is similar, or is the gun that some of these shootings have happened?
This is the same style of gun that are used in many of the shootings. This is considered an assault rifle.
And so the public could only have 10 rounds, is that?
Correct. They have to have a modified version of this that has a fixed stock, doesn't have the bayonet lug. There's a bunch of difference, as well as permanent magazines that don't remove. They don't come out like these do. So this particular weapon, you would empty a magazine, hit a button, it drops to the ground, you load another one in, you re-rack another round, you're ready to go. Seconds. On a consumer model, that magazine is attached to the weapon, it's non-removable. Once that gun goes empty, you physically have to load each round into the weapon. Major differences between our guns and theirs.
I'm sorry, I'm around.
You're really bothering me now.
I know, but this is a hot topic in the country, and I'm curious as he knows about it. So if someone buys one of these guns, like legally and all that,
Yep.
and they register it,
They must.
no, I mean, do you as the police department get a list of people that have registered guns, so like when you go to their house, you know they have guns?
We do not.
Wouldn't that be helpful?
It would be, but I'm sure there's a
I mean, I know
whole
that's
bunch of
probably
people
a-
that'll fight the Constitution on that.
I know it's probably something like personal rights, but I mean, if you're coming on a scene that it's a hostile situation, I think it would be a nice thing to know. That's all.
911 commonly poses the questions, if you were to call 911 for some sort of a dispute at your house or a neighbor's house, they're gonna ask those questions. If they're answered truthfully, we'll know, but there's no guarantee way that we'll know that there's weapons in the house.
Yeah,
Now,
so
we
when
do
they
have
register-
access to,
Goes where? When it goes registered, just goes to.
goes to the state and the federal government. Big
The
brother.
handgun permits.
But we don't have access to those records. I can run a query on an individual and find out if they have a handgun permit.
Right.
We can do that. Doesn't necessarily mean you have a handgun, but it means that you had a permit.
the
So the
right to have
likelihood is you had a handgun or you have a handgun.
A full carry permit.
So when you, is the purpose of registering a gun more of just going through the background check of a person? Because it seems like once it goes there, it goes
Well,
nowhere.
In order to purchase any weapon now, whether it's a hunting rifle, personal carry, or anything like that, you have to go through a background check. And I think they just extended the wait period till 10 days now.
In New York State.
Yeah, but I mean, where is it?
Not-
But I mean, like, if you had an issue like with I mean, just saying, if you had an issue with a kid in school, and would you be able to find out that this child or
You have to be-
semi-adult have
You have to be
guns?
18 in order to buy the weapon, so.
Right,
you
I
know.
mean, if it's a high school kid, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
18.
Well, with the
Some of them, though.
with the new red flag laws now, and they're very, very new, and I don't understand them all yet, but I am under the impression that now if we have a juvenile who has issues that through certain conditions, we can determine who in the house has weapons of any type.
That's what I'm getting at.
And things like that. It's not an instant thing, though. It's not something I could just punch a name in a computer and find out. There is some work that has to be done with the new red flag laws. But that being said, finding out whether you have a gun permit is as quick as running your license plate. It's just an extra inquiry, so it is that quick for that purposes. That's, in the last few years, is relatively new.
Running your license plate?
No, running Ed Molinelli to find out if you have a handgun permit can be done as quick as running your license plate and finding out who that car's registered to. It's that quick. Running your license plate doesn't give
So
you
the
that.
guys that are out in the field can do it right from the computers they have in the cars?
They can do that run, yes. Normally, do we do it? No, but it can be done. We can punch a name in and check the database.
Just to expand on what Jerry was saying, we live in a state that has a lot more gun control than we're probably one of 5 states that have really strict gun controls. What we're reading about in the press is if you're in Texas, if you're in Florida, if you're in Nevada, you can walk into any store and buy a gun, and there isn't a waiting period.
We can go to Pennsylvania
and buy guns. And then there's also we are in a concealed carry state, permit-wise. There are states that it goes by age. At 16, you can open carry, and at 18, you can conceal carry. So the biggest issue is we read about this and we see that people fight about it on the news. What everybody's remiss and what they don't understand is, like, I have a CDL license because truck drivers, to get a license in Missouri to drive a truck, could have been just filling out a piece of paper, taking a 10-question test as opposed to a driving test. So the federal government stepped in and made it a federal license. So the CDL test for New York is the same as the CDL test for California. So the problem with the gun control, why people are screaming at each other, nothing's getting done, it's not about the Second Amendment, it's just about the state stepping in and saying, look, we can't just have this free-for-all, it's not the Wild West. If New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, they have some semblance of control over. Sometimes New York, I believe in my mind, oversteps their bounds, that's my personal opinion, but we do have control of it. The other states don't. So when we read about these mass shootings, and they say, well, he just walked into the store to bought a gun, well, that's a state issue. That's the state not actually taking the authority or the responsibility to say, like, we don't have, we should implement background checks. We should, for domestic disputes or for any kind of criminal background. So that's why we just happen to live in a state. Well, like when Jerry said, a consumer can buy that, go up there, you can have a non-detachable magazine and only 10 rounds. That's only in New York State.
Right.
So that's the issue.
Well, yeah, because I had a conversation with someone at work who has a lot of guns too, and I was kind of surprised. I don't know, again, I don't know anything about guns, but I didn't realize you could, you're not supposed to cross state carry, there's different permits in every state. Wouldn't that be something that should be?
Yes. There is some kind of, there's a Utah permit. So if you have the Utah permit, you can cross state lines with pistols.
Because I know they said a lot of people go to Florida and they buy guns and then
Also, you have come back. If I'm checking around wrong, I have a concealed handgun, but I cannot bring that into the city. It's not.
No, you're correct.
In New York City, you can't go in?
Totally different.
So,
My permit's no good there.
one last thing on the subject. Basically what happens is somebody would buy something like that legally, and they would put a bump stock, or they would do something where it isn't semi-automatic, it's automatic.
Correct.
So,
The weapon itself, with a little bit of knowledge,
recoil. Yeah, not a lot of knowledge.
the weapon itself, and any weapon, not specifically this one, but any weapon, with a little bit of knowledge in a YouTube video, you can figure out how to modify them to be, there may be some machining involved and stuff like that, but if there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
And that's a big problem, is a lot of people get these, and they, don't make them compliant. So when they change the laws, everybody that had one had to register it, so allegedly the state knows who has this type of weapon prior to the laws being changed, allegedly. I can tell you a lot of people didn't register their guns. There was all kinds of rhetoric that the state was gonna come knock on your door if they found out you had one and wanted to know where your gun is and do this. None of that stuff's ever happened. I can personally tell you, I registered my personal rifle, which is a pre-banned AR-15, and when I went to renew my registration, the system was crashed and no longer operable. So I don't even know how you're supposed to follow up on that, because there's no phone numbers, no addresses, just a website that doesn't work.
Right.
So, again, mandates that were forced upon people that never went anywhere.
Well, I mean, that was what I'm point was, it seems like you register these things, but they go to like the nowhere land. like, it would make common sense to me that if the state has these things, when you as an officer pull someone over, as soon as you run that plate, it should pop up that this person might have a gun. Not to say they're gonna use it, but just so they have, when you come up to the car, you kinda might have a heads up. You know, it just seems like a simple thing.
Many, many people in this world that would disagree that you're stomping on their
No,
rights.
yeah, I understand.
Gazillions.
I mean, I agree with you
don't know.
100%. I'm just telling you what people
I
have
mean,
said.
I agree, people have the right to have their guns. I don't disagree with that at all. I just think little common sense things like that.
The common denominator out there is a lot of the people don't think the government needs to know what they have. Plain and simple.
So I want to
But
finish
they
on
do.
this,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind.
No, yeah, that's good. I just think it's
I
interesting.
think, I appreciate what Mr. DiStefano said, but I think this board and myself have been 100% behind this police force in whatever they needed.
I absolutely agree.
just wanted-
I agree with
I just
everything
wanted to
Mr.
say that.
Stefano said, with the exception of, if I thought we needed everybody to have a rifle, you 5 people would be the first people to hear from me saying, this is what we have, this is what we need. You all know that I'm not afraid to ask, so.
Right.
But
I just wanna
we have
clarify.
2. 2 works very well. Where we lack is on the C line with the 3rd rifle. If funds in the future were extra, I might have replaced it. This opportunity came up, now that gives us 3 rifles. Every officer on patrol will have a rifle, and we can't ask for more than that. And absolutely, I agree, the board has been very good to us, and if I thought that I needed it and asked you, and made a good argument for it and showed rational reasons why I needed it, I don't think the board would say no. I don't think so.
Just
Good
wanted to clarify.
conversation, good
Okay.
conversation.
Thank you.
Moving on.
I'm just gonna go lock this up and then I'll be back.
I'm done. I was
You
just-
throw it in my truck,
I
sir.
think it's a
All right,
good
Chief,
conversation
thanks.
to have.
So, new business,
Comments on the agenda.
now what do we do? Comments on the agenda. Any comments on the agenda? Thank you, Mr. Nolan.
Always willing to help.
Are our gutters up?
I told you the first week in October, didn't I?
It's over, man.
So, since there's no comments on the agenda, let's move. New business, October the 14th, 2019. Meeting, we usually have it on Columbus Day.
No problem.
I have no problem with continuing having it on Columbus Day. So, is that okay with the board?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You'll be giving me,
Yeah,
giving us the thing, I assume, that, because the employees are off that day, that's right.
I'll be at work.
That's it.
And so the other news business is the motion to accept the tentative budget for 2020. You see the emails that have been going around.
Very informative.
If the board would like to discuss anything further or send emails, concerns to myself or the budget director, Mr. Corcoran. First of all, I'd like to thank Councilman Corcoran and the budget director, Chris Wilco, for, I thought it was pretty good this year. I was a little worried. A lot of stuff that we came up, some ideas you came up, Chris came up with, I think it's very effective. Listen, we all know what
Do we know what the insurance went up?
the insurance went up 13.5%.
Man, they're just good with that 13% number, aren't they?
Yeah,
Annually.
13.5.
We
It's
ever
like
go to
Friday
our-
the 13th, they keep coming at us.
Scott, are we ever, I know we're staying with that same agency, but are we looking to, once in a while, get something from somebody else?
Actually, they're probably the
We
best.
We shopped it a couple
We
years
shopped,
ago.
we shopped around a bunch, but I mean, I agree, I mean, I think maybe
You gotta
next
keep
year,
honest.
we should actually also maybe do a double check again.
Wasn't
You
one
could
of
do
the,
an RFP.
Scott, wasn't one of the issues we had when we shopped it a couple years back was that the insurance providers, when we were looking at different companies, maybe a little bit less expensive, didn't meet the criteria of what was in the contractual
Some of them
agreement?
that were that, like, exactly.
It weren't apples and apples.
And then what
Well,
happens
it's
too
down
is
by
like,
contract, too.
you know, it's like any insurance, like they wanna get you in
And then
in the
It's like-
first year,
It's like the cable company.
and then
well, just like
once
this,
you're in, they start to raise you,
just
but
like these 13% increases, we may, if we put it out a couple times.
Yeah.
The other thing I was saying, Scott, we were discussing the other thing, like, what we do in a company like small as our company has, say, 40 employees, right? They have these new companies now that do all that stuff for you. They go out and shop your insurance. but they do it for a bigger amount of people, like a bunch of companies. And when you get them all under that umbrella, they get a less expensive rate if you join that particular. One of them is called Just Works, that's who we use. There's a couple of them out there. We've been decreasing our insurance every year, as opposed to going up. And it's very good coverage.
I'll talk to Mr. Ryan about this at the county level, right? As
Yeah,
far as
so-
trying to make it
So basically,
same
we're
thing.
talking about being a consortium, where all Ulster County and all the different townships would have a consortium to, look for.
But here-
Put it all in a
Right.
bucket so that it makes it a
But
lot
if you
cheaper.
can't get them to agree with what I'm saying, so there's
employees,
companies out
then
there
you get a
that'll
better
take you
rate.
just as
That's
an
the way it
individual township, even if the other townships aren't going, you're gonna go into a bigger consortium.
I think the board's heard you, so I think next year, maybe we'll shop around a little bit, maybe do an RFP. go
And
and
another
see
part of it too, like Dave always tells us, it's like always in our town, it's location. Like, we're in that one spot where we're still getting the tail end of the Westchester type money. So
We're in
if we were a
Albany.
little further up, he says we'd probably be 15%
We
discount.
gotta move to town?
So it's kind of one of those things always with us, it's
It's
like
location.
location. So,
So basically, this tentative, we're gonna have a resolution for a public hearing. But we were talking about, just briefly, if you owned a house that was worth $150,000, you'd be $10.50 with this increase in tax. $200,000 home is $14. $250,000 is 17.50. 300,000 is $21, and if you have a house that's assessed at value at $400,000, you're paying $28. So our increases are very minimum, considering what you just saw with your school tax. And so this board worked very hard to keep our property tax lowered. And I think, and once again, we're below the cap, and once again, I think we've done an extraordinary job of keeping taxes low for the taxpayers in Marlborough. That being said, going to the supervisors' meetings, there's towns that are not as fortunate as us as far as fund balance and stuff like that. So we're very fortunate, and we're mindful of the taxpayers. So once again, thank you, Councilman Walker, Christina Wilco, I think, and the board, for all the emails going back. I think it's working pretty good.
yeah, I think we just, if you guys have anything,
I had just a couple of questions about those reserve funds, but Howard asked the question, and got the
Yeah.
answer.
Yep, I said, Howard has a lot of
Well,
questions.
that came up in,
Pertinent.
in our, one of our last meeting, actually, and, that actually helps us out a lot, so it's, we could explain it more as we get more in depth on it, but, it actually helps us out budgetarily wise, and I think it's actually a good thing from, an emergency fund that we have and accounting wise, it actually is a good thing to have, so.
Yep.
And it would have helped us this year, obviously,
Yeah,
if we would have had that set up already. So we wouldn't have had to have those discussions, but anyway.
Moving on to workshop
Hold on,
topics.
Al, I got
You got
something.
something going on?
Yeah, we talked about briefly, I brought up last time about the skating rink, and you guys
Yeah.
told me to go get prices. I meant to email you guys, I realized tonight when I was eating dinner, I never sent the email out, but I did find them. There's 80 by 30s. I didn't measure the thing, but I'm thinking it's 80 by 30 up there. But there's all different sizes, but take for instance an 80 by 30, which I think would be very close to what we need. They sell it by the kit. The kit itself costs $638, probably plus shipping. And you need 22 boards of lumber, and I priced that up, and that's gonna be about $350.
So
All in all, we're gonna be somewhere around more than 1,000, less than 1,200, I believe. If you wanna get fancy, I looked up a bunch of videos. We can actually get LED lights to put in, like basically what you're doing is you're just putting a 2x10 up, and the kit comes with the brackets, so the brackets go on the outside. You unroll your polyplastic tarp, which is more, you can use it more than once. So you roll that out, you secure that to the sides, you just take a pump the pond water into this, and let it freeze. And that's basically it, but if you wanna get fancy with it, you can actually take LED rope lights, different colors,
In the ice.
and you can put them in the ice.
Very nice. That's
So-
pretty cool.
I'm just thinking it would be something we can do underneath the pavilion this winter, You know, I don't think it's gonna have a huge financial impact, and probably, to be honest with you, we could probably get people to volunteer to put up the 2x10s, lay out, and the fire department will pump the water. You know what I mean? So,
No, that doesn't have any
Let's
effect
try it.
on the
Let's do it.
cement, right?
I don't think so, because you're looking at 10 inches, 30 by 80, I can do I could do the math to figure it out, but, you know, 8.8 pounds a gallon, I don't think it's gonna,
You think it would, preferably it should be under the pavilion or outside?
I don't know, I think the pavilion you'd have lights,
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
so you
That's
could
the
skate at
difference.
night.
We
You know?
had this talk with Tom at Budget, right, Al?
Yeah.
And he actually mentioned the basketball court, but it was, I
Burning
said,
lights.
who's gonna shovel it?
Yeah, who's gonna shovel it and earning lights?
That's what we.
You know what I mean?
So then we said that and the
So the
lights.
ice will last longer, but it's not in a direct sunlight.
Yeah,
You know what I
so-
mean? So you're gonna get more use of it out of it that way. You'll have lights, and if someone wants to open up the kitchen,
Kitchen, you got hot cocoa right
you can
there.
have hot cocoa, and somebody can sell concessions. I mean,
I
it's
think it's a
something
great
that might
idea.
work, it's something that might not work,
Is
but
there a way to,
for $1,000, I don't think.
is there a way to
No,
keep
it's
people
all right. I
off
think it's a
that ice
cool
when it's
idea.
not being used properly?
Worth a
Like
shot.
kids just wandering around and,
Well, they just have wet feet.
okay, but when it's frozen, I'm talking about.
When it's frozen, it's just, yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? You can either extend the park hours till 9 o'clock, or, well, it's at 10 o'clock anyway, right?
10 now,
Yeah, so I mean, if you wanna skate, do night skating and just.
So
see-
would this be like certain days, Alan, or just?
I don't know. I think it'd be up to the board. When it freezes, I mean, if you want, instead of going out ice skating on the pond where it's 20
Well, yeah,
feet
we
deep,
don't want that.
you can go up on ice skate during
We
the
used
day.
to do that all the time.
We just gotta make sure.
Yeah,
the
but
highway-
ice is hard to
Play
come.
We have to
Ice is
make
hard
sure
to
that
come by.
everything's plowed and everything, that's the only
the
other
weather.
difference.
With the weather, yeah, because we have ponds by my house, but to go, we might get 1, 2, maybe 2 days of ice skating.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
it gets
won't
soft
even know
again.
Because what
Especially if
happens,
there's
it
water moving.
snows and
Yeah.
then you get to, you
It
can't
gets-
shovel it and then it gets bumpy. We have a
Yeah.
pond at our house.
No,
Yeah.
this is a great idea. Actually, we should try it.
So I mean, it's
Try
up
it.
to you guys. I mean,
Why don't you send me all
I'll
the
send you guys the emails. It's got
Yeah.
all the links on it, and it's got a couple videos. They're simple to do. I mean, I sat down one night and just watched videos and looked all this
We
stuff
could
up.
have we could have a winter fest, you know?
You can do anything. You know what you can do? You can do, actually, what I a little selfishly want to do is I want to do a curling tournament.
Yeah.
You could have
Like
dog
with the
sled
curls.
racing, you know?
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So, I saw a video how to make those out of cement, those balls. So anyway. But anyway, I figured I'd throw it out there. I think we can get it all done for under 1,200. You know what I mean? And the lumber and the tarp, I mean, we can just take it back apart, put it somewhere, you know, in one of the town buildings, and the next
Oh, I
winter,
love
take it
the
back
idea.
out.
I think it's a great
The
idea.
only thing I can tell you, we had to get porta potty things,
Yeah.
but we talked about this in budget too, and we actually have money in there for it.
Now, did you
Those-
ever, here's one thing I didn't look up.
The
Did you ever look
Bible.
up the price of porta potties? Because I said to Scott, I said, for the amount of porta potties that we're renting, you know what I mean? Let's say we do this winter thing, but we always kind of have town events, we need porta potties. What if we were to just buy 3 porta potties? The companies come to suck them out, to clean them out. So we would own it, and then we can move it ourselves. You know what I
That
mean?
would be something to look into for next year.
Yeah.
I don't know what they cost.
I just never looked to see how much they cost.
Ours is,
I'm sure you could buy them from
$100 a
some of
month
those
for
companies
both.
that already
Yeah, I
have.
just I wonder how much they cost and see what the payback would be
But
to
I
our.
think the ones up by the 2 ball fields, that we only use them seasonal.
3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and then, then the only one we use is down by the landing.
The one by the land is there all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other ones, we kind of just only have a few months, half the year, say.
I'm just
So
wondering
we
what
have
they
the
cost.
money in the budget for them, so it's a good idea, I think.
Anyway, all right, so I'll send you guys the links.
Okay,
to all that.
that's good.
So, along with that, new business, I should have probably amended the agenda, but I didn't. At the beginning of the conversation of the meeting, was that we got some monies, some estimates for
Oh, yeah.
lighting,
Oh, yeah.
and also
Oh,
for
you reminded me.
I got the email.
town, for the building up at the
Yeah.
transfer station.
So, you want to make an amendment to the agenda again? or-
Yeah, I'll make an amendment to the agenda to add
See?
estimates for lighting at the Chloe Chance Memorial Park, and also for building addition to the transfer station, the building at the transfer station, for added door and
2 doors.
2 doors. So, I make that amendment.
I'll second it.
You second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
So we approve that.
So, you guys, I sent you the things.
Yep.
Like you guys said before, I kind of like split out those hand dryers, which are kind of expensive.
How expensive is it?
They're like 20, I mean, this is putting them in the 2 bathrooms in the bottom and the 2 bathrooms at the top, so 4 of them. It's like $2,300, because you gotta run the wires and all that stuff. So, I mean, even if we put that off for now, it's up to you guys, but the electrical lights and the lights by the bathroom is like another $2,300, $2,360 to be exact is the low. His was $2,550,
So,
his is
I think
$2,660.
we'll wait till next meeting. I'd like to put that in the resolution form, if
Yeah.
it's all right with you guys. And then list
And
all
then-
the people that actually applied for the quote.
And then the transfer station, same thing.
And that's the door.
This is the 2 doors, you know, replacing the door that's there, replacing the entry door, framing in a new garage door, putting another 12-foot door on the other side, taking that metal off, reusing that metal where needed, putting new corner posts in, closing off the window. All that work is basically $8,700, so.
So between the two, you're talking $11,000.
So we have some money left in what we approved earlier for the transfer station, not as much as we have here, so we'd have to approve more. We don't have any money left in the park, so that would have to be an additional monies we would spend this year if we do them in the spring. They said they could both do them in, now, fall time. So I think that's a good idea.
Good, you
Put 'em on.
would prefer doing it, the board prefer doing it in the fall time, or waiting till we have a new budget where we have all the money in springtime?
What do
It's
we
the board's decision.
What do we put in the budget for next year?
Parks, same thing, 10,000.
10,000, and there,
And then transfer station,
probably
we don't put anything.
we don't have any.
That's a building.
Well, we still have about,
It's out of building, but we really don't,
we still have about 5,000 left
we
in
have
there.
about
What are-
5,500 left in this, so.
Right.
I mean, we could, like you say, we could do a next meeting in a resolution, but use some fund balance money, general fund,
Yeah,
just get it
whenever
done.
If the board wants to do it this fall or in the spring, it's up to
I,
the board.
I think the lighting
get it
definitely needs to be
You want to
addressed.
get it done? All right, I'll do
get
the
it done.
resolution.
Yeah, because
Next year, their bids are gonna go up.
Yeah, and,
Well,
or the contractor gets busy.
I mean,
The
personally,
lighting, if you're gonna have.
the lighting is
ice
definitely
skating,
good for the ice skating.
that'd be good.
So that's definite, and this, I'm just from the transfer station perspective, I want to see us get it done so we can start getting that stuff out of town back, because I know the highway department already said they're going to start putting some stuff in there in the next month or so.
Let's get that done. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure
Get
out
that
how
done
to
and
get
get
it
the
all
lighting
emptied
done.
out, and then we're done with it.
We're good.
Hold on
Just-
the
I would
drivers.
say let's get to work on it, just get
The
the
resolution.
put the resolution in.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Because we gotta have some place to store that ice,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. It's gonna
you have to have a place for it.
So,
Actually, that's a nice spot
moving along,
inside there.
Workshop topics,
Inside.
I think we just removed some more tires, right, Howard?
Yeah, we took another truckload, 2 days, 3 guys from the Ulster County's Sheriff's Office helped us. I haven't spoken to Larry since it happened because I've been kind of busy, but no complaints from him so far, so
He'll tell you if there's a
I
problem.
hope it worked okay.
He was happy the other day, but he said there's still
Yeah, there's still more there.
Yeah, let's do more.
Maybe one more time, we'll see.
I like his idea about charging people $8,
Mhm.
and it takes $3 to take it away. Well, maybe we should look at that a little closer. Your committee should look at that.
that's
maybe.
Charging for tires, we don't want tires up there, period.
You don't want any tires.
No.
That's what he recommended. He said he's recommending to us at the budget
That would be
meeting
my
that we
opinion.
consider taking tires again,
You know what,
charging and getting rid of them.
because you know what it is?
Just don't want to deal with it.
Well, look,
Gotcha.
look what happened with plastic recycling. Now people are just having it fill up in warehouses because there's nowhere to bring it.
Right.
So let's just not,
Well,
let's
that
not
was his
play with
suggestion.
that.
I would get
That was his suggestion, just put it in.
No, I
there.
get you, I get you.
Yeah, no, I know he's made that suggestion. I don't think we should be in that business.
No,
In fact, we're not in it now.
we're not
so-
in it
I
now.
agree with you. Don't bring it. Well, his thing is like, so they don't dump them on the side of the road, but I know we get that still, but, when you go to change your tires now, they take them and charge you there, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, there's just people cleaning out their garages.
$250 a tire.
So,
Okay, and moving along on the Tom back, Scoofus and Jacobson told me it's gonna be 1st of October, so at the next meeting, we'll tell you exactly how much they're gonna give. They say, like I've always been saying, I'm gonna be happy, you're gonna be happy,
You won't be happy.
we'll all be happy.
That's a pretty strong
So I
statement.
put out the design guide rules, and if you guys have anything, I'm just gonna give it 2 weeks more.
Yep.
See if I get any comments. I know Scott has some concerns, so I'm waiting for his comments, and if you have anything, just send it to me, so this way we could address it.
So the deadline is, when's our next meeting?
Columbus,
The 14th?
yeah.
That's
the
our
only
next
thing
meeting?
I saw, it
I'm
just
sorry,
seemed
what's
a
Our
little...
next meeting is the 14th?
Everything was
Yes.
good. It seemed a little wordy, like too much
It was a good read to
verbiage,
me, I mean, but
history.
I gave it to
too
Mr.
much.
Revicio, and he thought he liked it.
I mean, I think he's trying to build a case as to why this is important, so that's why it's a little wordy.
You could put it down.
No.
I think it's too wordy.
Yeah, I just think because this is something we're gonna hand to a builder to say these are, or, you know, we want you
More
to
for the
go by
plan.
some of these guidelines.
It's more for the planning.
When
board,
they
I
see
think.
something that's like this thick, they're gonna just throw it in a pile.
Well, they go to the pictures in the back.
Well, the pictures are fine, but what, you know, we gotta put this and make this up.
So
Why-
the
why make
builder
it so
goes to the
wordy?
pictures, the planning board and us maybe need to know the history, the background, why it's important, so we can defend it. I think that's the
That
rationale.
was the intent. I understand what you're saying.
But this goes, I mean, is this a separate, doesn't go in the code book? It's a separate?
I think the intent is for, the document itself being a living document, but in the code book, suggesting or saying you have to look at.
The code book says, look at these,
Yes.
so I'm just saying, I'm looking at money wise, because if you put that thing in the code book, it's gonna
No,
cost
it's
us
not in the code
It's not
book.
gonna be
50
codified.
grand.
No, it's not in the code book.
Oh, that's-
It's a living document, so.
I mean, I like the
as we-
history of it, it just seems.
As we go along, if we change it, we can change it, but it's, to codify it, we want people to actually follow it, and that's the
Did
intent.
Matt have a lot of,
Yes, that had a lot to do
I
with it.
could tell he wrote a lot of that.
Yeah, that's what he did.
It was good.
He needs,
So I think, the Milton Landing South Pier, everything's done on that, Danielle, and we actually got them to say that, to advertise, did you see that last email?
I did,
Okay. So I think we're straightened out on that.
yes.
they're gonna handle the bid process and
Yeah, they're gonna handle it, but,
The
you
bid
know,
opening is still at our
they want
office,
us
but.
to advertise.
Yes. She's advertising, she sent in the advertisement.
Right.
But the bid
So-
opening, I forgot what the date was.
You all good with that, right? We're good.
What days is it
We
gonna
are.
open?
The bid opening is going to be,
I'm sweating like
close to
11 a.m., October 16th.
Okay.
some heat.
And there's also going to be, which you'll want to know this, a pre-bid conference on October 2nd at 8 a.m. at the pier.
Okay.
October 2nd?
At the pier.
at the pier.
Okay, and this
At
is
the
gonna
pier.
be in the paper, local paper.
That will be in the Southern Ulster Times, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And correspondence?
Just one second.
Yes.
Do you need to motion to accept the tentative?
Uh,
'Cause I don't know.
I do-
I don't have the
No.
schedule in front of me. I forget how it works.
We have a resolution.
We had a resolution to
But the
do
resolution
the,
is setting
No, that's
the
the,
public hearing. We
Yeah, we
have,
do.
Setting the
we have to
public
have a
hearing.
motion to accept the
Yeah, that's
tentative.
true.
Okay.
We do.
Thank you for letting us know. We
Sure.
got off track there,
Okay,
talking
that's
about
okay.
guns.
That's true, you're right.
Scott was into the guns.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the to accept the tentative, budget.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
thank you.
Correspondence, I have just two brief correspondence. One from Michael Summer, who resigned about 6 months ago. I got his official notification of resignation from the position of data collector. And also, Mr. DiStefano did follow the rules, and he gave a letter to the town of Marlborough, according to our laws, our codified laws, on accepting gifts from individuals. So it's his intention and the intention of my corporation, also Firemen's Inc. Corp., to donate one Radical firearm AR worth $795.99. I would have rounded it off to $796, but, so, thank you very much again, Mr. Stefano. Moving along, any public comment? Yes, James?
Hey, where did, what's his name go?
Mike Dovich.
One simple comment for you to consider. Maybe it would be useful if you would ask the highway department as part of their monthly record to record the number of tires they pick up, just so you get an idea of how many tires they are picking up and how well that is changing over time. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
That's
James.
actually a good idea, James. Very good idea.
We
Okay.
should charge the highway department $8 every time.
$8
Yes,
every
Mark.
time they pick it up. They'll go bury it.
I just had a couple of quick questions. The cap for the town is at what percent this year? And you're under that, you said?
Well, we're under the cap, we're under the 2%. We're
Under
quite
two-
a bit
But I
over.
know sometimes it varies from year to year a little bit.
We're about 1%, we're gonna be about.
I'm sorry?
We're gonna be about 1%.
At 1%?
Yep.
And then we're like under the cap by like about $65,000,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range.
That translates to that?
Underneath the cap.
Okay. And what is the total number for the budget, the total amount that the town spends?
We got it right here.
You have it?
Do you have it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Thank you.
it's like,
I had that too. I didn't,
last page.
So, I could email this to you, but I could tell you right now, the budget appropriation for general fund is, gotta count
Here's the total
decimals
levy.
for me.
Total
What
levy is
you
right
give me
here.
here? Yeah, okay.
7,
So the total
7
levy
million.
is $7,434,794. So general fund is $3,918,868. Highway is $2,203,276.00.
2,203,000,
Yeah,
2,203,000.
276. But that's the levy, that's not the budget.
Yeah, I was going to ask them, so the levy to be collected is what?
So the overall levy between the highway and the
Right.
general fund
Okay.
is 7,300, yeah, right here. $7,378,703.66.00.
Okay, great. Last question I have is on the pier, you mentioned you're opening the bids this October 16th. Will
Is that the final?
work begin shortly thereafter on that,
I believe it has to. I think it
on
has
that
to.
corner?
I think it has to. The piece that,
quickly.
the
Pretty
piece that
quickly.
has to be done,
It has to be done by a certain time.
that can't disturb the bottom, yeah, that has to be done. I wish Rosemary was here, she could answer that
Yeah,
question.
yeah, so that timeframe is time sensitive, that we have to get that. So the Stoffel, once the Stoffel is printed in the paper, it's 20 days after that we could get those funds to work on the pier.
20 days after the 16th?
Yeah, whenever the
op-
advertisement was.
Oh,
And the advertisement was, I think it was in the paper 2 weeks ago.
Look all that up, I don't know.
all right, so you have the opening on the 16th, and then you could start within days?
We could start, if we agree to the contract, then we could start the next day.
Right, right,
So
okay.
it
kinda have
coincides
to.
with the amount of time that we have to wait. And we go, it's a ban, so we use our legal lawyers, Vanderwater and Vanderwater, to get a ban, to go out and get competitive bids for that ban, for the $1.2 million. So like, different banks will compete to see which are the best rates for that ban.
And once that's done, then you actually could do the work?
Yeah.
You kinda have to, because
Yeah.
You have till, what, late October?
I think so, but I don't know for sure.
It was, I think it was
Yeah,
It's
mid-November.
October, it's October,
To November or something.
yeah, time frame. There's a small window in there,
Right.
so the pilings, when you pound the pilings, that the sound doesn't disturb the
Right.
storing.
So people won't see any work until third week to fourth week of October?
I'm hoping the third, fourth
Third week?
no later than that.
Right, okay.
We might have a groundbreaking ceremony, which we'd like to invite you
Yeah,
guys.
you let me know when. Okay, thanks.
So this is the total levy, right? That's the one I gave you.
Water break.
I mean, basically, what we raise in taxes, Mark, is 7.5 million.
Yeah.
Is basically what we raise in taxes?
Yeah. Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the budget is more than that, obviously, but
The budget's like 9
$9 million, 9 point something.
9.9, almost $10 million.
Danielle, you maybe get a copy out to him? There you go. So this, yeah, actually, so, you know, it depends on the public comments.
Right. I realize there'll be changes.
Yeah, and plus if the board has different concerns that we would address before that.
Right.
Okay? So Resolution 72, to hold a public hearing on the 2020 preliminary budget. And my screen just went blank. Be it resolved that consistent with Town Law, Section 108, a public hearing on the preliminary budget will be held on October the 14th at 7 o'clock.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes, thank you. Resolution 73, to accept a donation to the Town of Marlborough Police Department. We just went over that with the firearms. Danielle?
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. Resolution 74, to appoint part-time police officer. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the police committee has interviewed for the position of part-time police officer, and whereas it is recommended of the police committee as well as the chief of police to appoint Jonathan Hurtado. Now therefore resolved that Jonathan Hurtado be appointed effective immediately.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. Resolution 75, to appoint part-time police dispatcher. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the police committee has interviewed for the position of part-time police dispatcher, and whereas it is the recommendation of the police committee as well as the chief of police to appoint Georgie Rose Super as part-time police dispatcher, and therefore be resolved that Georgia Rose Super be appointed effective October the 1st, 2019, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Chief, she was the younger one, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. Just one note that the police committee is Councilman Baker and Councilman Molinelli. Just want to throw that out to you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Resolution 76, to appoint part-time police dispatcher. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas it is the police committee has interviewed for the position of part-time dispatcher, and whereas it is recommended of the police committee as well as the chief of police to appoint Kimberly McNamee as part-time police dispatcher. Now therefore be it resolved that Kimberly McNamee be appointed effective October the 1st, 2019, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
I just want to make one thing. I think that she's going to be somebody that's going to stick with us. I mean, she's working full-time over there. She no desire to be a police officer.
Yes.
And I think she'd be a perfect fit because she's got, her hours are Monday through Friday. She fits in many of the positions you need. And she wants to do 2 or 3 shifts, she says. So.
We need 5 more like that.
Yeah, she's very, very nice girl, and she's not, not looking to go on any further than she is as far as a dispatcher. She's a full-time job with the city of Town of Poughkeepsie. She does other things than police. But she was really very, very good. And I'll say yes to that one. I hope we get a couple more like that this year.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. So, September 23, 2019, resolution number 77 is a resolution authorizing the advertisement for sealed bids for the installation of a solar photovoltaic energy system at the site of the town of Marlborough landfill in the town of Marlborough. So basically what this is, it gives us the opportunity to go out for an RFP, which was done by Pat Hines from Louis Hauser and Etzel. The reason we had to do this, even though we've been asking different people if they were interested to build a solar system on the landfill, even though we were denied. This is what Nexamp needs to go through the process. They're the only ones that are really interested. So doing this process with the RFP, we'll go out with the RFP, and I'm thinking that Nexamp will be the only one responding to it because they're the only ones that really showed any interest. So this is the whole process, and so that's why we're doing it. Any questions?
Nope.
It'd be great because I think one of the things is either we lease it or we actually ask for energy credits for the town as far as our buildings are concerned. So it's a good thing.
It's a good thing, can't hurt.
Okay.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Everybody still awake?
Yep, still
It's
here.
8 o'clock. Alan?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great. Wow.
Quick one. Be home for kickoff.
I know the
So on my way down to